Okay, this is 9.6, but my microphone is completely dead of battery, so I have to sit at my computer and try to do this. That means that my writing and, well, I'm going to have to type it. So it might be a little bit difficult to see, but at least you can hear me through it. So this is 9.6. Key thing that's different, look at this equation, ax squared plus bx plus c. The huge thing that's different is that a. That is going to be a huge, huge issue for us. So what is different? This thing. It's that a right there. It is going to be different for us. What does that make us do? Instead of just multiplying to c and adding to b, now we have to use that a. We're going to take a and multiply it by c. And so that a times c is now what we multiply to. And b is still what we add to, and then the process is the same. Now here's the first example. Kind of follow through. So what we need to do is we take this a times the c. And when you multiply that, you get 10. So a times c gives me 10. I need two numbers that multiply to 10 but add to negative 11. And which ones add together to be b? Negative 1 and negative 10. Because negative 1 times negative 10 will give me positive 10, but will add to negative 11.
Can we have a custodian to the gym, please, to open the equipment room door? The custodian to the gym.
Sorry. What we need to do now, so this is going to be kind of our new first step. Now that you have your two factors, here's the first thing that we're going to do. We're going to rewrite this middle term. That negative 11x, we're going to use our negative 1 and negative 10 to rewrite that middle term. We're not just going to write those as our answers anymore. So now we have the expression 2x squared, and now I'm going to use my negative 1 and negative 10. So let's write this as negative 1, x minus 10x. If you take negative 1x and subtract 10x, that gives you 11x, negative 11x. We have just rewritten that middle term using the two factors we figured out. So that's going to be your key difference. We took our middle term, rewrote it using the two factors we figured out. Here's going to be our next step. And I'll change markers just because it sounds like fun. Here's our next step. We're going to group the first two terms together and the last two terms together. So 2x squared minus x. Now that negative belongs to the 10. So negative 10x plus 5. I'm going to group those together. Now we're going to undistribute the common factors. Here's your third step. Looking at just this, just that part, what can you factor out of 2x squared minus x? Now factoring means creating a multiplication problem. So what divides it? Well, both of them can be divided by an x. And if you take 2x squared and divide by x, that leaves you with just 2x. So I'm pulling out an x. If I take 1x and pull out an x, now I'm left with minus 1. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the second set, negative 10x plus 5. Well, both of them can be divided by, you know what, let's divide by negative 5 so that that first term becomes positive. If you take negative 10x divided by negative 5, guess what you get? 2x. And positive 5 divided by negative 5 will give you minus 1. Do you see that we have two of the exact same things in a parenthesis? This will happen every time. Every time you get to this factor step, you will see this magical term where everything is the same. So now here comes our fourth step, and let's do it in pretty purple because that sounds fun. This is our fourth and final step, writing the factors. You see we have this common 2x minus 1. That's one of your factors. It's so magical it happened twice. So here's your 2x minus 1. Well, look at what's left after 2x minus 1. You're left with the binomial x minus 5. That is your final answer. x minus 5 times 2x minus 1. That is your answer. What's really cool is if you go to multiply this back out, you actually get the exact same expression you started with. 2x times x would be 2x squared minus 10x, because you multiply the 2x times the 5, minus 1x. Okay, that's going to give me negative 11x. And then negative 1 times negative 5, positive 5. You found the right binomials that multiply. So this is your answer. 2x minus 1 times x minus 5. And I got that by rewriting the middle term, grouping the first two, or factoring out something from those groups, and then writing my factors. Let me show you this again. So let me, hold on. So I'm going to have to pause. Okay, don't worry about it. All right, so first thing we need to do, take the a times the c. Our factor for AC is negative 15. I need two numbers that multiply to negative 15, but add to positive 2. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at 5 and negative 3. 5 and negative 3 because I need it to add to positive 2. And those multiply to give me my negative 15. So I'm going to rewrite that middle term. I still have 5 and let's square it. Oh, undo. All right, plus, now I'm going to rewrite this. So 5n minus 3n, and then minus 3. I took that middle term 2n and rewrote it as 5n minus 3n, using the two numbers I figured out. Now, in this expression, I need to go through and group. I'm going to group this first two terms and this last two terms. Now, remember, that 3n is who's negative. Oop. That 3n is what is negative. So you can always change it to plus negative. Now, out of the first term, what can we pull out of both of those? I can pull out a 5n from both of those. And I'm left with n plus 1, because 5n squared divided by 5n leaves me with just n. And 5n divided by 5n, they're the exact same thing, so leaves me with n plus 1. Now, if I do this right, when I factor out the second term, I'll get the exact same thing, n plus 1. Well, negative 3n minus 3. Let's factor out a negative 3. And negative 3n divided by negative 3 leaves you with just n. And negative 3 divided by negative 3, positive 1. You see that you have that repeat magical factor? So our answer has that n plus 1. And then the second factor is what's left over. 5n, and then plus negative 3, which is minus 3. That would be your final answer. I split the middle term, 5n plus negative 3n, grouped the first two and the last two, factored out from each of them, and then wrote down my magical factors. Ta-da, ta-da. Let's check it out again. I need two numbers that multiply to give me 6, but add to give me negative 5. So let's look at 3x squared minus 3x minus 2x, and then plus 2, because negative 3x plus negative 2x gives me that negative 5, but they multiply to be a positive 6. All right, now let's group the first two, and let's group the last two. I'm including that negative because that negative belongs to the 2x. And out of the 3x squared minus 3x, I can pull out a 3x. Leaves me with x minus 1. And then I can divide those by negative 2. Leaves me with x minus 1. Hey! And I have the common x minus 1. And then what's left on the other ones, if I pull out the x minus 1, is 3x minus 2. And that would be your final answer. Take a second and see if you can factor this one. I'm going to pause the video here, and you go ahead and pause it too, because when I come back, I'm just going to show you the answer. So pause it, and then when you're ready, play this again. All right, how'd you do? Did you get m minus 3 times 2m minus 7? Now, those don't have to be in exactly that order. 2m minus 7 times m minus 3 is the exact same answer. When it comes to negatives, I find it easier to just deal with the negatives. So you're going to have negative 4 times 3. I need to multiply to be negative 12, but add to be positive 4. So when I rewrite this, I have negative 4x squared. I know it's a pain. Now, I'm going to rewrite this to be what multiplies to negative 12. So I need a positive and a negative. Oh, so how about plus 6x and then minus 2x plus 3, because that's going to add to 4 but multiply to negative 12. Nice. Now let's put our parentheses around these. That negative belongs to the 2x. Parenthesis here. Parenthesis here. What can I pull out of negative 4x squared plus 6x? Now, it's totally up to you. You can pull out the negative. You don't have to. You can just pull out 2x if you want. Then you're left with negative 2x plus 3. And on this one, plus, hey, it's already negative 2x plus 3 in this, but I have to pull something out. And so if I need it to stay exactly as it is, the number I can pull out is a 1. And then it gets to stay as negative 2x plus 3. And I have the exact same factor, negative 2x plus 3. 2x plus 3. And then my other factor would be 2x plus 1. So that would be your answer. If you had changed this and pulled out the negative 2x, you'd have positive 2x minus 3. So here you would have had to factor out a negative 1 to get your positive 2x minus 3. So you can have this answer, or what would also be accurate is 2x minus 3, and then negative 2x minus 1. You'll notice that all of the signs of one of the factors have changed. So either of these answers would be fine when it comes to the negatives. It's going to be a little freaky, but no big deal. So go ahead and try this one. I'll pause the video again, and then when you're ready, play the video back, and then you'll see your answer. So 1, 2, 3, pause.
All
right, here are your answers. How did you do? Here's the homework assignment, and it will also be on My Big Campus. Enjoy. Dun, dun.